What's up, everybody? In this video, I am going over this upcoming UFC contest, Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill, and I'm giving you guys my top 5 picks for this upcoming UFC Reignmakers contest. Let's do this damn thing. All right. So looking at the spreadsheet here, again, this is from Stokastic.com. Highly recommend any premium content when you're playing these DFS games. Crucial, I would say. If you want to be profitable long term, if you're doing it just for the lulz and fun, then knock yourself out. That's where I get my money from, is those type of people. So, as you all know, if you're watching my videos for a while, I like to break down the contest in its entirety because that's where I formulate my strategy. So again, 3 variables here. Variable number 1 is how many fights are in the fight card, and in this particular fight card we have 12. That is slightly below average. 13 is average. What that means is that probability wise the winning lineup is gonna score lower. The reason for that is we have less fighters having the opportunity to score above 100 points or just score high in general. So that variable tells us more of a lower scoring winning lineup. 12 fights, that's not too low, but it is on the lower side, slightly below average. Second variable I like to look at is the inside the distance lines here. Also, how many wrestlers we have. I say this because wrestlers tend to score more points, and if a fighter finishes his opponent, also tends to score more points. So the inside the distance line is about average. There's a lot of 60s, low 60s to mid 60s. The top tier has 70s and 62 at the very top, which is a women's MMA that tend to go low inside the distance here. So I would say I would grade this at a above average, slightly above average here, because we do only have 2 that are below 50%. But meanwhile, the other ones are at about 60 to mid 60s to low 60s. So at about above average here. Third and final variable I like to look at is how many moderate to heavy favorites there are, and in this case there's 3. Moderate to heavy favorites are 2-1 favorite or above. I like to look at this because that shows me that there's going to be more live dogs. From the information that I've been gathering, the light favorites, which is a 2-1 and worse favorite, they're hitting at a 33% clip, so that's pretty low for these guys. So what that means is we can go heavy with these guys. What that means is we can get a lot of value here because the underdogs do tend to go cheaper. What that means in its entirety, putting it all together, I'm gonna take my shots at ceilings, which there are some ceilings here, but I'm not gonna go full-blown ceiling as if it were a different card where the volatility would be higher and I anticipate a higher scoring card. So I will take my shot at ceilings here. I'm gonna mostly focus at these at value. I'm gonna look for value on this card because I have a feeling we're gonna be able to get good value here, and the value is gonna mostly come through here. I'd imagine some through here, but I would tend to estimate that's gonna come from the underdogs because underdogs do come at cheaper prices. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, let's pick fighters that fit the criteria of what we're looking for here. Fighter number 1, which is a ceiling fighter that I'm gonna take a shot, I feel is the safest fighter to get on this card. I'm personally a fan of it, so it could be some bias here, but just looking at the numbers and looking at his past fights, I really like this fighter. Is Mr. Fluffy himself, and Anthony Hernandez. I like him for several reasons. He's very well rounded. He has really good takedown upside. As you can see, the shaded orange are people who have takedown upside. His numbers are really good. He has a 69% win odds, which makes him a moderate favorite here. I like these guys here as a safe pick. He has a 51% inside the distance fighter line here. I feel like he's at the peak of his career. He's only 29 years old, so fighters at that age, they do get better. They are still improving, so we can see a improvement in his game. And finally, looking at the opposite side of Anthony Edmond, he is no slouch. He is a good fighter, but he does lose to high caliber fighters. I consider Anthony Hernandez a high caliber fighter. Edmond has lost to Derek Brunson. He's lost to Hermanson, the Joker. He's also lost to Imavov. Nothing to be ashamed of, but it does show that when he fights these high caliber fighters, he does tend to lose against them. All right, so my second pick, we're sticking with these high upside fighters, and it's the guy right below Anthony Hernandez, which is Joaquin Buckley. Very explosive fighter. He is going down to welterweight. I like that move because he is a shorter fighter here. The guys that he fights against tend to be taller than him. Short, stocky dude. Has that KO upside. He has a 51.22% inside the distance fighter percentage. A safe win odds at 66%. And looking at the opposite side of him, Andre Fialho, he's coming off of 2 KOs. So that's pretty dangerous when fighters are coming off of 1 KO, let alone 2 KOs. So I like Buckley's chances of finishing Fialho in this spot. All right, now going to my value picks here. Number 1, I like Mahashate. That's the inside the distance line total here is the third highest at 68%, and his 27.4% inside the distance fighter is not too bad for a underdog here. He's so much cheaper than Borshev. Borshev's rare right now is running at $12, where Mahashate is running at $4.60, so less than half of Borshev. I think the value is more here at Mahashate. I do want to be exposed to this fight because it is the third highest inside the distance line, and it's more of a toss-up, whereas the other two inside the distance fights, it's more one-sided. So I do want to expose myself a lot to Mahashate. I also like him because he has fought in a tough competition. He's coming off fights against Rafa Garcia, which he did lose it, but he showed crazy durability in that fight, and he is coming off a win off of Steve Garcia knocking him out, and that fight has aged very well because Steve Garcia is doing very well. So I feel like that this is a step down in competition for Mahashate. He's also only 23 years old, so when fighters are at that young of an age, they have not hit their prime, so we do see them get better as they progress in fights, and I do expect a better Mahashate here on top of the talent that he carries already. Fourth pick, I like here another value pick is Angela Hill. Very high volume striker here, and that's gonna do well if it goes all 5 rounds, which it is a 5-round fight, and it's inside the distance at 51%, which is pretty decent to go all 5 rounds. Mackenzie Dern, we do have to be careful with her takedowns because if she takes it to the ground, there's a pretty good chance that she could finish the fight there. But looking at the numbers, Mackenzie Dern only has 11% takedown accuracy. Her wrestling is horrendous. And on the flip side, Angela Hill has a 77% takedown defense. So we're going to rely on Angela Hill's takedown defense and keeping it on the feet. And if it does go 5 rounds, I would imagine that Angela Hill will take this because the only path to victory I see Mackenzie Dern taking, which is a possibility, is her taking it to the mat and submitting Angela Hill. Angela Hill currently sits at $3.45, where Mackenzie Dern sits at $7.49. So great value for Angela Hill. She's the 7th cheapest fighter here, and a 5-round main event. I like that value. 5th and final pick. I don't really like this pick. A little warning here, but it's a great value pick, and the reason why I'm picking her is solely based off of value here. When this fight card does seem like it's gonna be a lower winning lineup score, so when it's a lower winning lineup score, just a W counts more. So Carolina Kowalewski, double K. She's a favorite according to Vegas odds. She's a favorite, and she's currently priced as an underdog. She's the fourth cheapest fighter in the rare set at $3.15. You can save a lot of money here. A great idea would to pick her as if you're gonna play rare contest, to pick her as your second rare to save that money. And she's a 55% favorite, 11% inside the distance, which sucks. But here you're looking at just for the W, and you're looking for efficient money here. She's priced as an underdog, a very low underdog in this case, and she is a favorite. Pure value play. I am done.